Started. Couple of seconds. Got 9 things going on all at once, but we're here. It is Monday, October 5, according to the watch, which is a good thing. We're into October. Things are going well for you. I hope things are going well for you. Look at my hair. Man, oh, it's all fuzzy and stuff. I need a little gel. Looks like I'm getting started slow, weird, and late. Well, you know, whatever. It is what it is. But I'm here, and I'm here for you, and I'm here with the program for today. So welcome in, everybody. Looks like I'm starting to see Milan checking in. Last week, we didn't have a Monday class. I had a holiday, so we fell over to Tuesday. But if you missed me on Monday, you can watch the Tuesday. It's still up there. It'll be up there for view on replay. So you can always go do that. But here we are. It is Monday. It is 9 o'clock, and we are checking in and getting ready for our program for the week. Recruiting haircutters. You know, it's a very interesting time in the industry right now as an employer and as an employee. The bottom line, one of the great things I have to tell you is it's good out there. If you are an employer seeking team members, it's good. It's a good market out there. If you are a employee seeking your next great gig, your next great adventure, it's pretty good out there. Things are positive in the job market in the world of haircutters, and we'll talk about the specifics related to that. We'll talk about the what and the why. We'll talk about tactics and strategies. And an exciting part of today, I think, especially as I'm seeing a bunch of friends checking in from Milan Institute. Glad to have you guys here as you like to join in on Monday mornings, and I like to have you. I'm going to address this recruiting issue, recruiting haircutters, from two sides, not only for our owners out there, for our managers out there who are hiring, but I also want to address it from the other side as potential team members, as talented haircutting professionals who may be seeking your next great opportunity, who may be looking, I don't even want to say looking for a job. Nobody wants a job. You want opportunity. You want a career. You want a future. You want an environment, a place to grow and nourish and thrive and do good things and support people and dedicate your life to a career of service to others. That's what this whole game is anyways. Yeah, all good. So we're going to address it from two sides. Let's go to the things we do, the way we do them. Let's go to the book. Let's go to $100,000 Haircutter. You got the book? Paper, digital, audio, 1 tip a day, every day, 365 days, October the 5th. Let's take a look at what today is. Today is October 5, day 278 of the year with 87 days remaining in the year. There's less than 90 days remaining in the year. If you're on the 100 by 100 program, right now we're looking at January 15. Literally January 15, give or take a day or two based on the 31s and things like that. 100 new customers by January if you're on that program. But today, October 5, subscribe to industry trade journals. This is a little continuing education tip. A great way to stay on top of all that's new and going on in our business is to read trade journals. Hard copy trade journals still exist. They're becoming a little few and far between because almost all of our industry information, almost all of our industry support, almost all of the great things that contributors, people like me, and other people in the industry are providing are available online at this point. Lisa says it's too early to have this much energy. Lisa, if you don't have this much energy, it just might be too late. You have no idea. All right. Subscribe to trade journals. Yeah, an awful lot of the trade journals in our industry have moved to online presences, to whether it's blogging or podcasting or video vlogging or online versions of their magazines. There's still some good magazines out there. I'm a monthly contributor to Barber Evo. If you don't get that, that is a beautiful, beautiful magazine. Absolutely worth your subscription and picking up a copy every single month. They do a fabulous job. It is really, really impactful visually, and the content is dynamite. And that includes my monthly column within that magazine. So, the big message for today's tip in $100,000 Hair Cutter is continuing to feed yourself, continuing to educate yourself. And of course, that is what we do here every single week. So this week's topic of the week, and I want to remind everybody the podcast is up, goes up on Friday for the upcoming week. Interesting little factoid or tidbit. Last week's podcast, will it make the boat go faster? And that was the idea of asking yourself, asking your business the right question to focus, direct, and steer your decision making and your success within your business. Last week's podcast has now become my number one most listened to podcast. It's moved to number one, last week's podcast. So our weekly listeners are climbing, the number of them. I don't know that they are themselves climbing. I can just picture all my listeners on a jungle gym. No, the number of weekly listeners to the podcast is climbing every week, which is an awesome, good thing. And last week's podcast has become the number one podcast that I have produced. This week's podcast, I will tell you, just to give you a little heads up, is the longest podcast. At 34 minutes, it is the longest podcast that I have offered up thus far on my new podcast platform. I've been shooting for 18 to 20. This one went a full 34 minutes. There's a lot to talk about. And right here, right now, you're going to get the class that is on that subject, and it's about recruiting hair cutters. And I've had this topic, this recruiting hair cutter topic, in my queue of topic of the week topics for quite a while. By the way, if you've got a topic, something you'd like me to cover here in the weekly topic of the week, shoot me a note, shoot me an email. I'm always accepting contributions, and if I use your topic, yeah, of course, I'm going to have a gift for you as a thank you for that participation. Before we jump into the topic, the final piece of announcement, if you will, module number 2 in my 4-part $100,000 hair cutter education program is going live today. Those of you that are subscribed to the free program, totally free, will be getting your email with module 2 today. If you are not subscribed to the program and you'd like to be a part of it, there are still 2 more modules, 2 more live trainings, and still about, it's the 5th, there's about 9 more days spread out of content throughout this free program. It's absolutely free. Go to the link in my Instagram profile. There will be a link posted to this video when this video goes to replay status at the end of the video. You can also jump on it there, but it's not too late to register to get in on it. There's modules. There's Facebook Lives to support the modules. There's Zoom trainings, ton of stuff. $100,000 hair cutter track, totally free. All right, recruiting hair cutters. The bottom line of this conversation for today, the most important thing I'll probably tell you here is, it's good out there. The market is good. The job market for professional hair cutters right now is good. If you are an employer, there are good people out there to employ. That's good to hear. That's good to know. If you are an employee, there are good jobs out there to have. That's good. That's good for both sides of the equation. I'm not necessarily going to declare it a buyer's or seller's market, and I think that's an interesting piece of the conversation. I don't think it's a really great time for employers right now and not a great time for employees. And I don't think it's the other way around. I think it's really good for both sides right now. I think it's a good job market. And, at the beginning of the pandemic lockdown back in March and April when things were really bad, that's an understatement, I got public with a couple of things, and I got a little grief from some people about making those statements very, very early, but the statements have held up, and I stand behind them. I made the comment early on in the pandemic that I estimated that 20% of the barbershops and hair salons in the United States of America would close for good. That we would lose 20% of the service establishments in our industry. That it was going to be bad. And that's a bad number. That was my prediction, that 1 out of 5 haircutting establishments, businesses would go out of business. And it's starting every day to look more and more like that number was very, very accurate, a very good call. I also made the prediction that 20% of the hair cutters would be leaving our industry. 20% of the professional licensed haircutters in our industry would stop haircutting during the lockdown and would not be coming back. Again, that's bad information. That's a bad number. But I think it's a very real number. I think it's a very accurate number, and I think it's a very true number. And for lots of reasons. You know, businesses are going out because they're underfunded, they're understaffed, they're not able to, they're under-customered, if you will. A lot of reasons why those businesses may be going out of business. And the cutters are going away for a lot of reasons. There are people that just said, you know what, I'm out. That found it an opportunity to retire. If they were of that age. There are other people that just aren't coming back because of the health and safety risks that they perceive to be a part of that business right now. It's very real. But what I think we're seeing here, and I think it's overdue, is a bit of a correction in our market. You know, the barber boom, as they call it, has been cranking for a while, putting lots and lots of people into the marketplace, lots of people who are struggling to be viable and successful in the marketplace. That's going to die down a little bit, and that's okay. In a way, it's a little bit of a right-sizing of the industry. I think pre-pandemic, we were struggling with oversupply, overcapacity. In some cases, too many shops, too many service providers. I won't say the words too much competition, because I think the phrase too much competition almost sounds un-American. It's almost inconsistent with the spirit of our entrepreneurial nature and the nature of the industry and the world in which we live. So I will not use the phrase too much competition. But I will say we had too much. Just too much. Too much noise. Too much disturbance. Things needed to chill, and they certainly have. Lots of clients and lots of haircutters are in flux right now. What I mean by that use of that term, in flux, and many people are hearing the word flux, and the only thing they can think of is Back to the Future and the flux capacitor in the DeLorean. Not exactly what we're talking about. But in flux, in that sense, in that timing and situations are off. A lot of clients are looking for their new hair salon. And a lot of haircutters are looking for their new employer or their new place to land, place to work, place to be. And this is, you know, it's not a good or bad thing, but it is what it is. That flux, that transientness in the business, it's going to settle in, settle down, and it's going to go away. And we're going to get to a really, really good place not too far off from now. But it creates opportunity in both sides of the conversation, whether you are seeking your next great opportunity or whether you are seeking your next great team member. That flux. And the way I've put it in one of my podcasts was, right now, there are hair salons in America, there are barber shops in America that clients are running away from. I want to say that again. I want to say it slowly and carefully. It's water. Just water. Showers. It's water. It's a question on the podcast, on the program here. There are barbershops and hair salons that clients are running away from. And that's a scary little thing, but in some cases it's because people have been uncomfortable with what they've seen and heard and experienced is in these shops with regards to safety and sanitation in the industry, with regards to people's feelings about care and protection for people's health, well-being, and safety. There are shops out there that have done a really, really, really crappy job of making people feel comfortable and making people feel safe. The flip side of that is there are shops and salons in the industry right now that clients are running to. They can't get there fast enough. There are people who are reporting being busier than they've ever been. There are shops that people are running away from, and there are shops that people are running to. And I think it's very important that owners and managers and team members are sitting down and having those shop meetings, sitting down and having those conversations. Where are we in that continuum? How does the marketplace see us? Are we a shop that people are running away from? Or are we a shop that people are enthusiastically running to? So, this brings me to the beginning of this conversation, the beginning of this discussion on recruiting haircutters. Initially, I'm going to talk about this from the perspective of the business owner, the shop owner, the employer, the person doing the hiring. We'll circle back and we'll talk about it a little bit from the employee perspective. But the number one best way to recruit team members to a barbershop or hair salon, the number one best way to never have a problem recruiting ever and ever again is to run a great business, to run an incredible haircutting business, to run the kind of haircutting business that clients are running to. This has always been the case. This has nothing to do with safety, sanitation, and infection control, although obviously today that's a part of the conversation. This has more to do with who you and your business is as a part of your community. Being highly visible in your community, being active in your community, being a source of valuable contribution to your community. Whether it is stability within the community, the years and the time you've been in business, whether it is contribution to the community through charitable acts of giving, through supporting of organizations, through presence and participation in everything from your Chamber of Commerce to your local 4th of July parade. I mean, the list of ways and places and ideas for where and how you can contribute in a positive way to your community is endless. There's no shortage of ways to do that. But when you do that, when you create that type of business, I can assure you, you will have no shortage of people who want to work in your business, who show up asking for an application, who show up asking to be a part of what you're trying to do, who want in, as opposed to finding yourself in a situation in which you're looking, begging for help, and maybe availing yourself of what are not the best marketplace choices with regards to some of these jobs and opportunities. I just make that phone call. Got a phone call coming in first thing on a Monday morning. Got to make that go away so I can have this conversation. A big piece of this Run a Great Business conversation is the discussion I have called Who is Your Customer? And I think it's very important. I used to have this conversation with my team members when I had my shop. Who is your customer? Knowing what your role in the equation is, knowing what your place in the conversation is, and knowing who is your customer, and therefore how do you serve that customer. What I've always believed is this: if you operate a barbershop or hair salon, and you have a team of hair cutters working with you, the customer that is in the waiting room, the client getting a haircut, is the customer of your team members, your hair cutters. If you ask your hair cutter, who is your customer, the answer is the guy in the waiting room, the lady in the waiting room. That is my customer. And I think that answer is true and correct. So if you're the manager of the shop, if you're the owner of the shop, I then ask that same question: who is your customer? And the answer to that question is the lady or the guy in the waiting room is not the customer of the owner or manager of the shop. You're the owner or manager. There could be 40 people in the waiting room. You can't cut them all. You can't serve them all. The only way those people can be served is by your team members. So your customer is, in fact, the hair cutters. Your hair cutter's customer is the clients. Your customer is the hair cutter. We're moving up the chain here. And as a result of that type of thinking, Your responsibility is to take care of your customer. Know who your customer is and give them what they want. If we're hair cutters, those things seem and feel easy. I'm a hair cutter. That's a haircut client. I will take good care of them. I will cut their hair. Pretty simple. But as an owner or manager, the team members, the hair cutters are my customers. I must take care of them. Job number one, responsibility number one for an owner or manager in that scenario is fill the waiting room. When I had my shop, we had, and you guys have heard me talk about this a lot, we had 8 chairs in the cutting area. We had 24 chairs in the waiting room. And we had a team of 25 hair cutters whose job it was to serve those customers. And frequently you would hear me say, my job is to fill the waiting room. Their job is to empty the waiting room. Do your job. Don't worry about filling the waiting room. That's my job. I'll do my job. You do your job. You take care of the people that I put in the waiting room. It's a marketing function. It's advertising. It's promotion. It's looking after your business within the community. We've talked about that already. You know, I want to tell you a great little story that I like to share of the best recruiting advertisement that I have ever seen in 30 years in the business. 30 plus years in the business. John, thank you. 30 plus years in the business. The best hair cutter team member advertising promotion I've ever seen was a video that was posted to Instagram. It was a video that was posted to Instagram here in the greater Chicago metropolitan area by a friend of mine who owns multiple locations of Sport Clips franchises. Y'all know Sport Clips, the men and boys sports-themed haircutting place. He was looking for hair cutters. He was looking to recruit. And what this guy did was he swiped a little snippet of video from one of his stores, from one of his security cameras that was pointed at the waiting room in one of his locations. And you can see in the video, the camera's mounted way up in the corner. And you can see the cash register and the computer, and you can see some retail shelves, and you can see all the chairs. Now, you remember, this is before coronavirus. You can see all the chairs in the waiting room. And all the chairs in the waiting room are full. And you can see outside, there's people standing around because there aren't enough chairs in the waiting room. And out the front door, you can see people standing outside the shop on their phones, kind of hanging out. They're waiting. So what this guy had done is he took this video from his security camera of the waiting room in his Sport Clips location, and he posted it on Instagram. And the message he posted was, does your waiting room look like this where you work? I love it. He posted, you want to work someplace with a waiting room like this? What he was saying was, I've done my job. Sport Clips, we've done our job. We filled the waiting room. Want to come do your job? Want to come here and empty this waiting room? Who is a hair cutter? Come on, show me a thumb, show me a smiley face, show me a comment. Who is a hair cutter here doesn't dream of? I know it causes stress and anxiety sometimes, but who of us doesn't dream of a waiting room stacked to the rafters? Right? Yeah, seriously. This was a fabulous piece of marketing on the part of this Sport Cuts franchisor. So take care of your crew. That's the big message here. You want to recruit like a boss? Take care of your crew. Ask what they want. Don't assume what they want is a full waiting room. Keep your turnover low. One of the most proudest, that doesn't sound like it feels right. But one thing about which I am quite proud, the time that I had my shop, there were a couple of team members, the top portion of my schedule, a large portion of my team member schedule, that never turned over. People that started with me the day I opened my shop, that were still working with me on my team the day I sold my shop. Keep your turnover low. The lower your turnover is, that's a better indicator that people are really happy, and happy people stay, and happy people talk to their friends and their family, which is not only clients, it's also haircutters down the road. Create opportunities for growth. Create opportunities to promote people to shift managers and store managers and trainers. Have a training program with a path for people so people have opportunities and reasons to grow within your organization. Find responsibilities to give out. Responsibilities within their jobs so that they have job satisfaction. They have a sense of meaning and a sense of value within their work and within the work that they do with you. Provide growth opportunity, whether that means business opportunities to move up to bigger and better stores, potential opportunities for somebody to invest to become a part owner in a next location, partnership opportunities, franchise opportunities. The more opportunities you create as an owner or manager, the more people will come running to seek opportunity with you. Fill the waiting room we already discussed. And last on the list is raise the price. Raise the price of your haircuts. As an owner or manager, regular, consistent price increases, that's how we give raises. We don't give bigger commissions. We don't give away bigger slices of the pie. We don't increase commission rates. I'm just using a number here, but if we pay 50% commission on $20 haircuts, a haircutter makes $10. But if we pay 50% commission on a $22 haircut, now they make $11. 50% commission on a $24 haircut, now they make $12. I know you understand the math, but what you want to understand is people crave this growth, and they need these opportunities. The more opportunities you create, the more people will grow. And the more there is growth, the more people will be interested in partaking of, participating in, and having a little piece of that growth. Number 2 on the list, after run a great business, have a file of prospects. Take the application. Take the application. Anytime you ever meet anyone, even who's happily employed somewhere, hey, you know what? Take a minute, fill out this application. If you don't have a paper application, get one. If you have a paper application, maybe it's time to have a simple digital one on your website, a digital application on your website. Apply to be a part of our team or get on our team mailing list. They don't even have to be looking for a job right now. I'd be willing to bet you, and it would be hard to test this right now, but I'd be willing to bet you I don't even own a shop. But if I was at a trade show, an educational event, or a seminar, and I asked people to get on my mailing list, I would have no trouble collecting names. I've done it. I used to use a digital program on my phone to capture contact information from people. And I came home from trade shows with hundreds of names. You could be doing the same thing within your marketplace. When I say have a file of prospects, it could be a file folder, a manila folder in a drawer, and it could be a digital file of names as potential team members. Always be recruiting. Always be recruiting. Recruiting for haircutters is not a sometime thing, and it's not a just when I need a haircutter thing. It's a 24/7, 365 thing. Now, I want to stop and pause right here because I want to flip the conversation to our haircutters, not our owners and managers, but I want to talk to the haircutters. I want to talk to the people, the students, my friends from Milan. I want to talk to people looking for jobs. All of the same rules apply. Look for somebody running a great business. Be on their mailing list. Stop in. Have a service. Introduce yourself to the manager. The next tip on here is having relationships with schools. And one of the things that I've always done as a owner was I've always had relationships with my local barber and cosmetology schools. I would go in and visit. I would offer to do free classes and programs. Most valuable, though, and I don't know how it is in your state, but where I live in the state of Illinois, you do not need to have a barber or cosmetology educator's license in order to help out on the clinic floor in a barber shop or in a cos or barber school. So what I used to do is I used to go in on Wednesdays, half day in the morning, a portion of Wednesday, 2-3 hours, and be a pair of hands on the clinic. The teachers appreciate it. Trust me on that. If you're a teacher on here, throw me a thumb if you wouldn't like 2 experienced professionals hanging out on your clinic floor in the mornings just to be there to help students, to be there to provide additional support, to be there to take a little bit of load off of the teachers. They love it. They're happy to have it. But this gives you the opportunity to engage with young people in the business, new people in the business, to get to know them a little bit, to talk to them, to see their hands work, to see what they do, to hear what they're asking, to be a source of mentorship. It also lets you sort them out. If you get to work on the clinic floor in a beauty or barber school, you know which students are game on. Invite them to the shop. Offer them a free service. Give them a tour. You also know which students are crackheads or just are the ones you really want to steer clear of, that you don't necessarily want in your shop as a part of your business. Get to know them early. It's relationship building. And you should be building those relationships 24/7, 365. Not just the day that Jennifer comes to you and says, I'm moving to Tulsa. Not just the day that somebody comes to you and says, yeah, I'm going back to college. I want a master's degree in something. You know, wonderful. Congratulations. Good for them. But you got a hiring issue right now. Now's not the time to be looking. Now's not the time to be recruiting. Should have been looking and recruiting all along. Same thing goes for the team members out there. You should be keeping an eye on your community. You should know where the new shop opened up. You should know who owns that place down the street. You should know what it looks like inside that barber shop. Even if you're happy where you are and you're not moving, you got to know your environment. You got to know your community. You got to know your marketplace. You got to be out there engaged and connected. So having those relationships with schools. Number 4, double dip your advertising. Double dip your advertising. This is a simple one. It's short and it's sweet and it's to the point. This was shared to me a long, long time ago. And what was said was, anytime you ever spend a penny on advertising, always make it a recruiting ad as well. Not complicated. On a print ad at the bottom, always looking for the next great team member. Apply today. Even if you're not currently looking for the next team member, put it on there. Always looking for talent. Lots of simple ways you can word this. Lots of simple ways. Know somebody? And by the way, when it comes to double dipping advertising and recruiting, this is one of my favorite techniques, one of my favorite tactics for finding great team members. Headhunting, bounty hunting. Put a price on their head. What do I mean by that? Anytime you have a client in your chair, you know, if you need help, the clients know. They see the waiting room. They know how long they waited. They know how hard it was to get an appointment. If you're hurting for haircutters, all of your customers know that you're hurting for haircutters. Get them to help you. Here you go. You ready for this one? It's real simple. Tell your customers, because your customers all know haircutters. Every customer of your shop had a haircutter somewhere else before. Every customer of your shop has a family member who's a barber or cosmetologist. Every customer of your shop knows somebody who cuts hair. Here's the deal. Empower these people to find you your next great team member. It's really simple. Hey, client, here's what it sounds like. Hey, client, find me a haircutter. I got an empty chair. I want to add somebody to the team. I'm looking for a great haircutter. You know anybody? Be honest about it. Be upfront about it. Talk it up. You know, they say if you need a kidney transplant, you're going to mention kidney transplant to every single person you know. Treat it like it's that serious. If you need a kidney transplant, that's life or death. Recruiting for your business is life or death for your business. So, here you go, John, Pina, bingo, you got it. That's exactly the deal. This is what you tell the customer. If you send me a hair cutter, as long as that hair cutter works here, as long as they are employed here, your haircuts are free. That's it. It's not a one-time thing, John. It's a forever thing. You send me, and here's why. This is why it's so powerful. Okay, what's it cost to give a haircut? Couple of bucks. What's it cost to give away a haircut? Nothing. You give up a couple of bucks. But what is a good team member worth? A good team member is gold. A good team member over years in your business can bring in for themselves $100,000 a year and can do the same for you. So here's the conversation. John, you're my customer. Hey, John, find me a hair cutter. You know somebody? Oh, yeah, you know, my cousin's girlfriend, she graduated from barber school. Send her in here, because if I hire her, as long as she works here, boom, your haircuts are free. Think about that. I want this girl to stay here and be happy. This girl wants to stay here and be happy. And now John, my customer, wants this girl to stay here and be happy. It takes a village. We are now building a community that has a vested interest in this person's success. For those of you that are listening that are students, for those of you that are listening that are going to be looking for a job, how would you feel if you knew that you wanted to find and keep a good job? How would you feel if you knew that your mom and dad wanted you to find and keep a good job? How would you feel if you knew that your boss wanted you to be wildly successful? And how would you feel if you also knew that there were a couple of other people that were pulling for you, that wanted you to be successful long-term in a job or in that situation? That's what we're talking about here. It's all points of support that help make that hair cutter, that Jennifer or that Jimmy that's going to work in your business a success. Last on the list, of course, is networking with other shops. Know who else is out there. Know who else is hiring. Know who has worked where. Somebody comes to lists a shop as a reference or as a previous employer. Have you never heard of that shop? Do you not know who these people are? And yeah, is that Marivelle? Yeah, their motivation right there. Imagine what that client that's getting the free haircuts is saying to that Jennifer or Jimmy. You better not quit here. You better work here, and you better be good. All of a sudden, there's other people got skin in the game. I love it. Yeah, networking. Know the other shops in the community. A guy applies for a job, call his employer. Hey, I'm checking on a job reference for this Jimmy. Did he work for you? And the guy on the other end of the phone goes, hey, Ivan, thanks for calling me. Yeah, you know what? We had to let this guy go. He was a real problem. You know what you need to know. Or you call somebody up on the telephone and you say, hey, I got this guy Jimmy here applying for a job, says he used to work for you. And the guy on the phone says, oh, yeah, Jimmy, man, Jimmy was rock solid. We were sorry to lose him, but, you know, when his family moved and he followed and he moved down to Chicago where you live, he couldn't be here anymore. But, man, if he came back up here, I'd hire him in a minute. You should hire Jimmy. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Because I don't think there's a salon owner out there that's going to do me wrong and tell me, yeah, go hire this one, and then later I find out he knew he was a problem. It's not going to happen. We're looking out for each other. A rising tide lifts all ships. So, this is our conversation for today. Run a great business, have a file of prospects, build relationships with schools, double dip your advertising, and network with other shops. Those are my 5 big tips for recruiting, whichever side of the conversation you are on. Quick reminder, module number 2 in the 4-part video series is launching today. If you are not on board with my free educational program, go to Instagram, go to the link, or I'll post the link later in this stream. Come back here and grab the link and register and get in on this free program. There's 3 more modules, 3 support sessions, 2 more training sessions. It's all free. It runs now through October 15. We're in the middle of it. We're in the thick of it. We're in the heart of it. But we're still here on Monday mornings for our program. We still have 100 by 100 for free. You want a copy of this book, Just Pay Shipping and Handling. Go to my website and get your free copy of 100 by 100. And if you're not cutting hair with a Zoot comb, the Zoot Comb System, that is your men's hair cutting multi-tool with the unique patented integrated snap-on gun. Demoed this in a lot of our technical videos so you guys can see how these things work. If you don't have one of those, you gotta get a Zoot comb. It's ivanzoot.com to do that shopping. Remember, Tuesday, text blog, Thursday, video, Friday, the podcast. Lots and lots of resources, lots of stuff available to help you build and grow your business. Thank you for spending a little bit of Monday with me here. I look forward to seeing you on any one of these platforms or places. And I look forward to seeing you again right here next week on Monday at 9. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.